But don't then, in essence, this is where I look at it, don't then now use that against the player that actually taught you the game or that you learned from. And that's why I have a tough time. And, look, I would love to have played against LeBron and, Kobe in my prime. I would love to have played, against those guys. But we'll never be able to know that. Part of the marketing, part of the hype, part of the things that tries to elevate one generation above the other.
Michael Jordan just snapped on LeBron James, and somehow the media barely touched the story. What Jordan reportedly said in early 2026 was so raw, so direct, that people in the room were stunned hearing it come from him. For more than a decade, Michael Jordan stayed quiet while the GOAT debate exploded everywhere. ESPN shows, podcasts, barbershops, social media debates at 2 in the morning, and he never really jumped in. He stayed cool. He brushed questions off. He let his career speak louder than words. But this year, something changed in a major way. LeBron James, whether he meant to or not, crossed a line Jordan had drawn years ago. And when Jordan finally answered back, he didn't do it quietly. He didn't pass a message through reporters. He didn't hide behind insiders. He went straight at it himself, face first, no filter. The people who heard it still can't stop talking about the way he said it. So what exactly pushed Jordan over the edge? Why did this hit him so personally? And what does this mean for two basketball icons whose legacies have been tied together for years? Because once you hear the full story, the entire picture around Jordan and LeBron starts looking very different.
The whole GOAT term is never going to be something that I ever will get high or low about, It just doesn't exist with me. I never played against Oscar Robert or Jerry West. Would have loved to. Absolutely love to. Just as competitive as I am. And I actually learned from them, and we, paved the road to the Kobes and the LeBrons, right? And to me, it's the beauty of the game of basketball that a player after.
Now, to really understand why this situation got so intense, you got to start from the beginning, because the history behind this matters big time. Michael Jordan has always moved differently from other superstars. You rarely see him online throwing shots at people. He's never been the type to chase attention with interviews or sneak diss somebody in public. That's just not how he operates. When the GOAT debate started getting loud in the early 2000s, a lot of people expected Jordan to fire back. Fans thought that famous competitive side of him would explode publicly the second LeBron's name started getting compared to his. But instead, Jordan stayed silent, calm, controlled, almost scary calm. And honestly, people respected it for a long time. It came across like a man who already knew what he accomplished and didn't feel the need to explain himself to anybody. Like Jordan was basically saying, without even speaking, I already know who I am. The rest is on you. But here's what most people didn't realize. Jordan's silence was never because he didn't care. According to people around him, he paid attention to everything. Every LeBron interview, every sports debate, every analyst trying to remove his name from the top spot and hand the crown to somebody else. Jordan saw all of it. He just made the choice not to react publicly. That wasn't weakness, that was discipline. And knowing Jordan's personality, that probably took a lot more restraint than people understand. Because at his core, Michael Jordan is still one of the fiercest competitors sports has ever seen. The same mindset that made him dominate the NBA for years never disappeared. He just learned how to hide it better from the public eye. That's why this moment in 2026 shocked so many people. Jordan breaking his silence wasn't random. It wasn't some small emotional reaction either. For a guy who spent years staying quiet while everybody debated his legacy daily, finally saying enough means something serious happened behind the scenes. And once Jordan decided to speak up, there was no soft delivery, no sugarcoating, nothing polished for cameras. The message landed hard, and people close to the situation knew immediately this wasn't normal MJ behavior at all.
Because I want to make sure that I got you accurately about the blasphemy I think you're spewing. Are you trying to say that at some point in time that a guy that's lost 6 championships now, as great as he is, Mount Rushmore, a guy that lost 6 championships has an opportunity in his career to eclipse Michael Jordan? Is that what you're saying?
Not for me, but I do think the case will be.
This wasn't just another basketball debate anymore. This got personal. It meant something finally got through Jordan's armor. Something LeBron said, or maybe the way he said it, hit the exact weak spot Jordan had spent years protecting. And once that wall cracked, what came out wasn't calm, polished, or carefully planned. It was raw emotion. Now let's make one thing clear right away. LeBron James is not some villain in this story. He's one of the biggest athletes the world has ever seen, carrying pressure that most people could never imagine. For almost his entire career, every move he made got compared to Michael Jordan. Every championship, every loss, every stat line, every interview, all of it became part of the GOAT conversation. That kind of pressure changes how people move. Sometimes it makes people more careful. Sometimes it makes them speak with more confidence. And in 2026, LeBron started saying things that slowly, then very loudly, started bothering Jordan behind the scenes. At first, the comments didn't seem explosive on their own. They sounded smooth, even respectful in certain moments. But once people started connecting all the interviews and public conversations together, a pattern became obvious. LeBron wasn't just presenting himself as equal to Jordan anymore. He was starting to speak like he had become the new standard, like the debate had shifted from, can LeBron reach Jordan, to, why is Jordan still being used as the benchmark at all? That's where things reportedly started getting tense. During one major conversation early in 2026, LeBron reportedly said, "The game has evolved. The players today are doing things that weren't possible in that era. I respect everything that came before me, but legacy is about total impact. And on total impact, I'm comfortable with where I stand." Now, on the surface, that doesn't sound disrespectful. A lot of fans probably even saw it as confidence mixed with respect. But according to people connected to Jordan's circle, MJ heard something very different hidden underneath those words. To Jordan, the phrase, "the game has evolved," sounded less like praise and more like a subtle shot at the era he dominated. Like today's game was somehow tougher, smarter, or more advanced than the basketball world Jordan conquered for years. And then there was the total impact part. People close to Jordan reportedly felt LeBron was redefining the conversation in a way that naturally boosted his own legacy, shifting the focus away from championships and dominance and toward longevity, influence, business moves, and off-court impact. Jordan didn't react publicly, though. He still kept everything bottled up. That's what made this situation so unusual, because normally, if Jordan ignores something, it stays ignored. But then another moment happened later in 2026, and this one reportedly crossed the line completely. At a major private event packed with important names from basketball and business circles, LeBron allegedly made another comment that got back to Jordan almost immediately. This time, it wasn't just about basketball history or the evolution of the game. According to reports floating around behind the scenes, the comment touched on Jordan's choices after retirement and the way he handled his public image over the years. Nobody fully leaked the exact wording publicly, and people who were there stayed extremely careful about details. But enough information slipped out to create serious buzz around the situation. And unlike the earlier comments Jordan quietly ignored, this one stayed with him. By the middle of 2026, people around Jordan reportedly noticed a completely different energy from him. Not the calm icon fans see in documentaries, not the smiling businessman sitting courtside. This was a more personal side of MJ, frustrated, heated, and genuinely upset. Not because somebody compared careers. Jordan had dealt with that for years. What bothered him was the feeling that respect had disappeared from the conversation entirely. According to multiple stories quietly circulating, Jordan eventually unloaded during a private conversation with longtime associates. No cameras, no media training, no polished statements for headlines. And the message reportedly came out hard. I stayed out of it. For years, I stayed out of it. I let it play out because I didn't feel the need to defend something that didn't need defending. But you don't get to rewrite what this game is to make yourself look bigger. You crossed the line. Those 4 words, "you crossed the line," became the part everybody kept repeating behind closed doors. According to multiple people connected to the situation, that phrase spread fast through basketball circles because of how Jordan reportedly delivered it. There was no yelling, no dramatic speech, no over-the-top trash talk like fans remember from the 90s. That's what made it hit even harder. The people describing the moment said Jordan sounded cold, calm, focused, like somebody who had already made up his mind and didn't care who liked it. And apparently, Jordan didn't stop there. Reports say he directly addressed the comments connected to his post-career decisions and the way he handled his public image over the years. To Jordan, that crossed way beyond basketball debates. In his eyes, discussing championships, eras, skills, and records is one thing. Bringing personal choices and character into it, that was different. That was off limits. According to people who later heard about the conversation, Jordan reportedly made it clear that certain topics should never be dragged into GOAT comparisons because they have nothing to do with what happened on the court. One person who heard the story secondhand described Jordan's tone as eerily calm, and honestly, that description keeps coming up over and over. Not emotional, not chaotic, just sharp and direct. Like somebody finally deciding they were done holding back. And the biggest shift in all this? Jordan reportedly decided he was done staying silent altogether. Done watching debates slowly reshape his legacy while he sat quietly in the background. Done hearing people frame history in ways he felt were unfair. And most importantly, done giving LeBron the respect of silence while feeling like that same respect wasn't coming back the other way. What makes this whole situation even crazier is that people close to Jordan say he never wanted things to get this far in the first place. For years, he reportedly tried to stay above the noise. He avoided public fights. He avoided social media drama. He let fans and analysts argue nonstop while he stayed out of it completely. But according to people around him, once the conversation became personal, Jordan viewed it differently. To him, this stopped being a basketball debate and became a respect issue. And when Jordan takes something personally, the energy changes fast. Word about the private exchange spread quickly through NBA and business circles. Within days, people started hearing pieces of the story, not full transcripts, not confirmed recordings, just fragments and reactions from people connected to both sides. Still, it was enough for everybody to realize something had shifted between two legends who had spent years keeping things professional in public, and the reactions were split right down the middle. Some people around Jordan reportedly felt his response was overdue. They believed he had spent years absorbing comments, comparisons, and subtle shots without ever fully responding. To them, Jordan finally speaking up wasn't some emotional meltdown, it was him correcting the narrative. One source reportedly close to Jordan's side allegedly summed it up like this: "He let it go on too long. Eventually, somebody had to say it." But on LeBron's side, the mood sounded a lot more complicated. According to reports floating around in 2026, people close to LeBron were genuinely surprised by how strongly Jordan reacted. The belief from that camp was reportedly that LeBron never intended his comments to sound disrespectful at all. They viewed his words as confidence, not contempt. But here's where this whole thing gets really messy. Intent doesn't automatically erase impact. Jordan didn't react to what LeBron meant. He reacted to what he heard. And for somebody from Jordan's old school mindset, where respect, wording, and reputation carry serious weight, the exact phrasing mattered a lot. Every word counted. Once social media caught wind of the tension, things exploded even more. Twitter, Instagram, podcasts, sports pages. Everybody started trying to figure out what really happened. Fans dug up old interviews, old clips, old comments from both players. People started connecting dots everywhere, trying to build the full story from tiny pieces. And even without every detail becoming public, one thing became obvious fast. This was never just about stats anymore. It wasn't about rings, points, MVPs, or highlights alone. The situation had turned personal between two basketball legends whose names will forever be linked together. And when something personal happens between icons like this, it doesn't just disappear quietly. It becomes part of basketball history forever. This is where the story gets complicated, because it would be super easy, and honestly pretty lazy, to just pick a side and move on. Some people want to say Jordan was completely right and that LeBron crossed a serious line. Others want to say Jordan overreacted and LeBron was simply speaking confidently about his own legacy. But the truth is way messier than either of those simple takes. LeBron James has spent basically his entire life carrying comparisons he never asked for. Ever since he was a teenager on magazine covers getting called the chosen one, people were already stacking him up against Michael Jordan before he even played a single NBA game. Think about that pressure for a second. Every win got compared to Jordan. Every loss got compared to Jordan. Every championship, every finals defeat, every clutch shot, every interview, all of it became part of the same nonstop debate. That kind of spotlight can wear anybody down over time. So when LeBron talks about his own legacy and starts positioning himself as the standard for the modern era, part of that probably comes from wanting to finally define himself on his own terms instead of constantly living inside somebody else's shadow. In a lot of ways, that's human. Nobody wants their entire career framed as the guy trying to catch someone else forever. Eventually, most people would push back against that too. But, and this is the part that matters, there's still a difference between building your own legacy and making things feel personal. There's a way to talk about your greatness without taking subtle shots at the person you're compared to. Even indirect comments can hit hard when the person on the other side has stayed publicly quiet for years. And that's something a lot of people think mattered deeply to Jordan. Because Jordan's silence, to some people close to him, that silence was actually a form of respect. Most fans don't even think about it like that. But imagine if Jordan had spent the last 5 or 10 years publicly firing back every single time somebody compared LeBron to him. The debate could have turned ugly fast. Instead, Jordan mostly stayed out of it. He let analysts, fans, and former players argue non-stop while he stayed in the background. That restraint mattered. So according to people close to MJ, once LeBron's comments reportedly drifted toward personal territory, Jordan felt like that respect had stopped being mutual, and that's when everything changed. Now here's the wild part. Both sides honestly have understandable arguments. Jordan's reaction reportedly came from a real emotional place. Not just ego, but frustration over feeling personally disrespected after years of staying quiet. At the same time, LeBron's comments also likely came from a real place, a man trying to claim ownership over his own legacy after spending decades under constant comparison. That's why this story hit such a nerve with basketball fans everywhere. Because underneath all the GOAT debates, championships, and statistics, this situation exposed something people forget all the time. Even the biggest sports legends are still human. Take a step back and look at the bigger picture for a second. It's 2026. Michael Jordan isn't just a basketball player anymore. He's one of the most famous sports figures in history. 6 championships, 5 MVP awards, global brand empire, a career that changed basketball and athlete culture forever. Then you've got LeBron James, one of the greatest players the game has ever seen by almost any standard imaginable. The longevity, the records, the influence on player empowerment and modern NBA culture. His impact is undeniable no matter which side of the debate somebody stands on. These two men honestly don't need validation from each other. They never did. And yet somehow, here we are in 2026, with stories spreading about Jordan venting behind closed doors while LeBron's comments get analyzed like hidden messages in every sports show and podcast. Fans are choosing sides. Old interviews are getting replayed. Every sentence is being broken apart online. And technically, most of this situation still hasn't even happened fully in public yet. Now the big question becomes, what does all this do to Jordan's image? Some people think this makes him look insecure. Their argument is simple. If your legacy is truly untouchable, then why respond at all? And honestly, that's not an unfair opinion. But other people see the complete opposite, and to them, Jordan finally showing emotion and frustration actually makes him feel more real. Less like some untouchable sports statue and more like an actual person with pride, emotions, and limits like everybody else. And maybe that's why this story grabbed so much attention in the first place. And for LeBron, this situation could get even more complicated moving forward. Because if more details eventually come out about what was allegedly said and how strongly Jordan reacted behind the scenes, the backlash might not just come from critics or random haters online. It could come from people who actually respect LeBron. That's the part that hits different. Some fans may look at the whole situation and think, you had the respect of the greatest player ever, and somehow that relationship cracked anyway. And criticism like that cuts deeper than debates about rings, points, or championships ever could. Because at that point, people stop talking about basketball and start talking about character, respect, and legacy. And honestly, that's what makes this story so huge. The wild irony here is that both Jordan and LeBron spent their entire careers trying to build something bigger than the game itself. Not just highlight reels or trophy cases, but a legacy people would still talk about decades from now. Not only because of what they did on the court, but because of who they were as men, leaders, competitors, and icons. And now in 2026, with rumors spreading and tension building behind the scenes, that image is being tested for both of them at the exact same time. That's why this story feels bigger than basketball. Michael Jordan finally breaking his silence and reportedly going off on LeBron in a way that sounded personal, emotional, and completely unlike his usual public image. That's not normal NBA drama. That's 2 generations of greatness colliding head-on. Jordan spent years staying quiet while the comparisons never stopped. LeBron spent years carrying impossible pressure while the world constantly measured him against a ghost he could never fully escape. And somewhere along the way, all that pressure finally exploded into something personal. Now, neither side walks away untouched. The biggest question now is what happens next. Does this whole situation stay private behind closed doors? Do more details eventually leak out publicly? Will Jordan ever directly address it himself? Will LeBron respond if the pressure keeps building? Right now, nobody truly knows. But one thing is clear, the GOAT debate changed completely after this. This isn't just about stats anymore. It's not just rings, MVPs, finals records, or different eras of basketball. Now it's about respect, it's about pride, it's about legacy. And once things get personal between legends like this, those stories never really disappear. They become part of basketball history forever. Now, I want to hear from you. Was Jordan right for finally speaking up after all these years? Or do you think reacting at all just proved LeBron got inside his head? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now because this debate is far from over. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with another basketball fan who needs to hear this story. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss the next breakdown. See you on the next one.